Emma doesn't recognize me anymore, but I could never forget her. 4 years ago, my family was destroyed due to her father Robert Morrison's scheme, and I was badly injured in an accident that ruined my face. After plastic surgery, I'm completely different now. Emma is now dating me, but she remembers how she abandoned me in the past. Her father Morrison is still powerful and wealthy, but now I'm in a position to reach them. I've gained Emma's trust. Morrison sees me as a potential son-in-law. It's time to pay for injustice. My plan is perfect, but the pain in my heart is still fresh. My name used to be Alexander Chin. Now I'm known as Michael Sterling. 4 years ago, when I was only 24, my life turned into hell overnight. My father David Chun owned a small but successful technology company called CoreSync Technologies. Robert Morrison, CEO of Morrison Enterprises, tried every way to take my father's company. First he offered partnership, my father refused. Then he proposed a buyout, another refusal. As a last resort, he resorted to dirty games. That night is still before my eyes. Emma and I were celebrating our anniversary. We had been together for 2 years and were making marriage plans. Beautiful, intelligent, compassionate Emma. I loved her so much. Sometimes her being Robert Morrison's daughter created problems, but I thought our love would overcome everything. How wrong I was. When we left the restaurant, I was going to drop Emma home and meet my father. There was an emergency at CoreSync. While driving to the office, I didn't notice that I was being chased by Morrison's men. Or maybe I noticed, but it was too late. I lost control and crashed into the barriers. Metal pieces tore my face apart. When I woke up in the hospital, my life was completely destroyed. Half of my face was unrecognizable. But the real shock came from my father. Morrison Enterprises claimed to have discovered a security breach in my father's company. Fake documents, manipulated data. My father's company went bankrupt overnight. My family's 30 years of savings, our house, everything was gone. And Emma, oh Emma, I can't forget the horror in her eyes when she first saw my face in the hospital. "I'm sorry, Alexander, but I can't handle this," she had said. My father was right, we're from different worlds. This wouldn't work anyway. The heartbreak at that moment was 1,000 times more severe than the pain in my face. The next day, she sent back the engagement ring through a nurse. I never saw her face again. 6 months later, I read in the newspapers that Emma Morrison, heir to Morrison Enterprises, got engaged to the son of her father's business partner Jonathan Blake. She had healed quickly. The plastic surgery process took 2 years. Dr. Elizabeth Carter and her team did perfect work. I changed not only my face but also my body type. Exercise, diet, voice training. Alexander Chun was like he never existed. Michael Sterling was born in his place. During this process, my father fell into depression. We tried to file a lawsuit, but Morrison's lawyers closed every door. My father died of a heart attack 2 years later. But I was alive and I had a plan. With my new identity, I first established a small technology startup in Boston. I named it Sterling Tech. I worked hard, made smart investments, and turned it into a medium-sized company within 2 years. Small enough not to be under Morrison's radar, but successful enough to catch Emma's attention. The place where I coincidentally met Emma was a charity gala organized by her father Robert. She was still breathtakingly beautiful in that elegant black dress. But the warmth I used to see in her eyes wasn't there. She was like an ice princess. "Hello, I'm Michael Sterling," I said, introducing myself. "I'm the founder of Sterling Tech." "Emma Morrison," she said, shaking my extended hand. "You may have heard of my father, Robert Morrison." At that moment, while storms were raging inside me, there was only a gentle smile on my face. Of course, who hasn't heard of Morrison Enterprises' success? We started talking and I discovered Emma's still existing interest in technology. Artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, sustainable energy solutions that we used to talk about for hours. Everything was still there. Only this time I wasn't Alexander, I was Michael. We arranged our first date that night. Emma hesitated but finally agreed. "Just coffee," she had said. "I'm engaged to Jonathan." Yes, Jonathan Blake. Son of Morrison's new partner. Rich, handsome, safe. The kind of man Emma's family approved of. Like I used to be. Our coffee meeting lasted 3 hours. I saw those old sparkles in Emma's eyes again. Her passion for technology, love of life, that magnificent intelligence. Everything was still there. But there was something broken somewhere too. As if a part of her soul had died. "What's Jonathan like?" I asked boldly. "Good," she had said. But her voice wasn't convincing. "Reliable, successful, my family loves him." "But do you love him?" There was a long silence. "Love comes in different ways," she finally said. "Sometimes love isn't enough." That sentence both broke and gave me hope. Emma was still very different from before, but maybe the losses she experienced had changed her. Maybe she was still suffering from losing Alexander. In the following weeks, we met frequently. Emma said she was having problems with Jonathan. "I couldn't find someone who would understand me," she said. "You're different, Michael. You really talk to me." I had complex emotions inside. On one hand, my love for Emma was rekindling. I was making her laugh again, bringing back the sparkle in her old self. But on the other hand, my revenge plan was also progressing. My meeting with Robert Morrison happened when Emma brought me home. "Dad, I want to introduce you to Michael Sterling," she had said. "Founder of Sterling Tech." Morrison's handshake was strong. His eyes surveyed me from head to toe. "You've been successful at a young age," he said. "Congratulations." "Thank you, Mr. Morrison. There's no young entrepreneur who doesn't follow your achievements." That night at dinner, Morrison interrogated me. My company, my past, my plans. He was curious about everything. I was prepared. Michael Sterling's story was perfectly constructed. "I was born and raised in Boston," I said. "I studied computer engineering at MIT. My family were doctors. We had an ordinary middle-class life. My passion for technology led me to this path." Every word was a lie, but Morrison believed it. He even liked it. "You've done good work. Maybe we'll collaborate in the future." This was exactly what I wanted. Months passed and my relationship with Emma deepened. While her relationship with Jonathan became tense, she spent more time with me. One evening she finally couldn't resist. "Michael, I broke off my engagement with Jonathan." My heart started beating fast. "Are you sure? This is a big decision." "I'm sure. I don't love him. Maybe I never loved him. Just because my family wanted." That night we kissed for the first time. Emma's lips still tasted the same. But this time I wasn't Alexander, I was Michael. Everything was the same, but nothing was the same. When our relationship with Emma became official, Robert Morrison's attitude changed. Now he saw me not just as a potential business partner, but as a potential son-in-law. "You love Emma very much, don't you?" he said one day when we were alone in his office. "She's the meaning of my life," I said sincerely. This was the biggest truth. I still loved Emma. Only now the fire of revenge burned alongside this love. Good. Emma deserves to be happy. In the past, she went through difficult times. "How so?" Morrison paused. "She used to date someone else, a young man named Alexander Chin. But that boy was problematic. His family was also suspicious. His father's company went bankrupt due to fraud. Then Alexander had an accident and Emma had to leave him. My daughter was very affected by that incident. Fires were erupting inside me, but my voice was calm. A sad story. I hope she can leave the past behind now. Emma is strong, but sometimes I see her remembering old pains. You're a new beginning for her, Michael." At that moment, my hatred for Morrison peaked. How could he lie so comfortably? How could he forget the injustice he did and act like a victim? The first stage of my plan was to grow Sterling Tech, to catch Morrison's attention and gain his trust. The second stage was to offer him a business partnership. Of course, while doing this, I would do the same thing he did to CoreSync in the past. 6 months later, I presented my proposal to Morrison. "I want to strengthen Morrison Enterprises' technology department," I said. "We can combine Sterling Tech solutions with your infrastructure." Morrison's eyes lit up. "Interesting, but this is a big risk." "Every big success requires risk." This is the most important lesson I learned from my father. He stopped at the table. From your father? You just said he was a doctor. My heartbeat quickened, but there was no change in my face. Despite being a doctor, he also followed the business world. He always said, Michael, the safe path isn't always the best path. Morrison believed, or wanted to believe, because my offer was really profitable. The day we signed the agreement, Emma was so happy. Now you're also partners with Dad, she said excitedly. This is wonderful. Yes, I said smiling. Wonderful. But the real plan was starting now. Infiltrating Morrison's company, learning their systems, discovering their weaknesses, just like he did to my father's company 4 years ago. Every day I researched, I discovered how dirty Morrison's business was. CoreSync was just the first victim. Dozens of small companies, hundreds of people, lives destroyed for Morrison's ambition. During the time I was with Emma, I began to get to know her again. She was still the woman I used to love, but she had changed. More cautious, more fragile, more sad. Losing Alexander had affected her. One night she said, "Should I tell you about Alexander?" My heart stopped. "If you want." I loved him very much. Maybe he was the only person I ever loved. But when that accident happened, I was very young, I was scared. My father told me that our family was different from his family, that this situation wouldn't work. I believed him and left him. Tears were flowing from her eyes. Now I regret it. I regret it every day. I don't even know what condition Alexander is in. Is he alive? Is he dead? At that moment, I wanted to tell her the truth. "I'm here, Emma. I'm Alexander," I wanted to say, but I couldn't, because my plan wasn't completed yet. "We can't change the past," I said, hugging her, "but we can change the future. You're helping me forget Alexander," she said. "I feel better when I'm with you." While storms were raging inside me, I comforted her. While Emma was trying to forget Alexander, I, who was Alexander, was loving her again. As my partnership with Morrison progressed, his trust in me increased. I gained access to the company's sensitive information. Financial records, legal documents, secret agreements, everything was at my fingertips. And finally I found it. All the evidence of how he bankrupted CoreSync. The originals of fake documents, bribery records, threat messages, everything proved Morrison was guilty. But that wasn't all. I learned that dozens of other companies shared the same fate. Morrison was a serial killer, only he targeted companies, not people. When the final stage of my plan came, Emma started bringing up marriage. "When?" she asked. "We've been together for 8 months now." "Very soon," I said. "I'm just waiting for the right time." The right time came. I presented my final offer to Morrison. A big project, millions of dollars in investment. But this time I wasn't the one being trapped. I was setting the trap. "This deal changes everything," I told Morrison. "But it's based on trust. Mutual transparency is required." "What do you mean?" "Both companies need to open their past records to each other. A clean start." Morrison hesitated. "Is this necessary?" "This is how big partnerships are built," I said decisively. "Or do you have something to hide in your past?" Proud Morrison couldn't confess. "Of course not. You can access anything you want." That night when I got home, Emma was waiting for me in the kitchen. "Dad said you made a big deal with him. He's very excited." "Yes," I said. "A very big deal. Life-changing." Emma hugged me. "I love you, Michael. Sometimes I can't stop thinking about Alexander, but being with you gives me peace." "I love you too, Emma." This was true. I still loved her. But now I also wanted justice. The next day I went to Morrison's office. The documents were in my hands. CoreSync file, other companies' records, bribery evidence, everything. "Mr. Morrison," I said, sitting across from his desk, "before our agreement, I want to show you something." I spread the documents on the table. Morrison's face turned pale. "These? Where did these come from?" "From your archives. Very interesting reading. Especially the CoreSync Technologies file." Morrison stood up. "Who are you?" I'm Michael Sterling, but I used to be Alexander Chun. Morrison's eyes widened. Impossible. Alexander Chun is dead. No, he just reborn. And now it's time to pay for injustice. At that moment, Emma came in. Michael? Dad? What's happening? I looked at Morrison. Tell her. Tell your daughter the truth. How you bankrupted CoreSync, how you destroyed my family, how you tried to kill me. Emma was looking at us confused. What are you talking about? What does CoreSync mean? Emma, I said, turning to her. I'm Alexander. You're Alexander Chun, whom you left 4 years ago. Emma's face turned white. No. This isn't possible. Plastic surgery, Emma. My face completely changed. But I'm still your Alexander. Emma staggered. Morrison tried to hug her, but Emma pulled back. Dad, weren't CoreSync's owners Alexander's family? Morrison was silent. Tell me, Emma shouted. Emma, you don't understand. That family's business wasn't clean. Lies, I shouted. Everything was lies. You destroyed my father's company with fake documents. You tried to kill me. And you lied to keep your daughter away from me. I handed the documents to Emma. Take them, read them. See your father's true face. Emma cried as she looked at the documents. Dad, is this true? Did you destroy Alexander's family? Morrison looked helplessly. Emma, I did it for you. That boy wasn't right for you. This wasn't your decision. Emma screamed. I loved him. And you destroyed his family, then kept me away from him. Emma turned to me. Are you really Alexander? I answered slowly. Yes, Emma. I'm your Alexander. I've been waiting for this moment for 4 years. But you're different. Your face, your voice, everything is different. The appearance changed, but my inside is the same. I still love you, Emma. I always loved you. Emma collapsed. I left you. I left you at your hardest moment. How can you forgive me? Because you were deceived. You believed your father's lies. He's the real culprit. Morrison pulled out his gun from his desk. This conversation ends here. Dad, no. Emma screamed. You don't understand, Emma. This man came for revenge. He'll destroy all of us. No, I said calmly. I'll just ensure justice. These documents will be delivered to the FBI today. You'll pay for your 30 years of crimes. Never, Morrison shouted and pointed the gun at me. Emma stepped in front of her father. Stop. Enough. You've caused enough damage. Emma, get away from there. No, Dad. Alexander is right. You did wrong and you need to pay for it. Morrison's hand was shaking. I was going to protect you. Protect whom? Me or your own interests? Morrison dropped the gun and collapsed. I just wanted to be strong. I didn't want anyone to do injustice to me. But you did injustice to others, I said. Dozens of families, hundreds of people, they all became victims of your ambition. Police sirens were approaching. I had informed the FBI beforehand. Emma turned to me. Alexander, Michael, I don't even know what to call you. I'm still the same person, Emma. Only my appearance changed. But you came for revenge. Not because you loved me. I loved both you and justice. But now justice has been served. Only you remain. You lied to me for 4 years. You also lied to me 4 years ago. You said you loved me, but you left at the first difficulty. Emma was crying. You're right. I'm guilty too. But what happens now? Who are you? Alexander or Michael? I'm both. Alexander's love combined with Michael's strength. And both love you. When the police came, Morrison surrendered. The documents were delivered to the FBI and an investigation began. Morrison Enterprises' assets were frozen. Emma and I sat in the hospital garden. The same hospital where I lost her here 4 years ago. Can you forgive me, Alexander? My name is Michael now. Alexander died. But his love lives on. I never forgave myself for losing you. I felt regret every day. I also never forgave myself for losing you. but revenge kept me alive. Now your revenge is over. But what about your love? Is that over too? I looked at her. She was still beautiful. I still loved her. But everything was different now. My love never ended, Emma. But trust ended. You left me at my hardest moment. How can I know you won't do it again? Because I'm not the same Emma anymore. I also changed. Losing you taught me the true value of life. Her face was very beautiful in the moonlight. She looked very much like the old Emma. Will you give me a chance? She asked. Did you give me a chance 4 years ago? No. But I'm not the Emma from that time anymore. I'm not the Alexander from that time either. Then let's make a new beginning. Michael and Emma. 2 new people. I looked at her. Love and hate were fighting in my heart. Finally love won. Okay, Emma. But this time it will be right. No lies, no secrets, no fear. I promise. A few months later, Morrison's trial began. The Corsink case was also reopened. My father's name was cleared and compensation was decided for my family. Emma was visiting her father in prison. She hadn't forgiven him but hadn't completely abandoned him either. He's still my father, she had said. What he did was wrong, but I can't stop loving him. I understood her too, because I couldn't stop loving Emma. Sterling Tech continued to grow. We bought some parts from the remains of Morrison Enterprises. But this time cleanly, honestly. Emma also started working at the company. She still had her passion for technology and was very talented. While working together, we sometimes remembered the old days. Alexander and Emma, young, in love, innocent. Now we were Michael and Emma, mature, experienced, wounded but healing. A year later, I proposed to Emma again, this time as Michael Sterling. Yes, she had said, but this time forever. Our wedding was small and intimate. Morrison was in prison, but Emma wrote him a letter. Dad, I forgave you, but I didn't forget. I hope you forgive yourself too. On our honeymoon, Emma asked me, do you miss Alexander? No, I said, because Alexander's best parts are still with me. His love for you, his passion for technology, his pursuit of justice, everything is still here. But now I'm stronger, smarter, more determined. I miss the old Emma, she said. She was innocent, hopeful. You're still hopeful. Otherwise, you wouldn't have married me. She smiled. You're right. Maybe lost things sometimes come back in different ways. Today, 3 years later, we're sitting in our house's garden. Emma is pregnant and we're thinking about our child's name. How about Alexander? She suggests. No, I say. Let that name stay in the past. How about David? My father's name. David is nice, she says. Will you tell him your father's story? Of course. He needs to learn the importance of standing against injustice. What about my father's story? That too. He needs to learn how power can turn into evil. Emma holds my hand. We'll be good parents, won't we? The best, I say, because we've experienced both the beauty and ugliness of life. And we learned that love can overcome everything. We're watching the sunset. Alexander Chun had died in this garden 4 years ago. But Michael Sterling was born here. And Emma had fallen in love with both men. Justice had been served. Love had won. And we would live the rest of our lives together. This time forever.